Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 27. Yay!
Yay!
Of Heart to Heart with Hazel. And my guest here today is Beth from Happy Place Crafting. And it's interesting. We'll get into it in a second. I just want to acknowledge the people that are in the chat already and all eager. So we have somebody called Biddy Penny, who I understand is a is
He's my buddy.
a, a bud of yours,
Yeah.
new to me, of course. So welcome. What is her real name? Is it Penny?
No, it's Toby actually.
Throw us
But
Biddy.
everybody calls her Bitty Penny, so
Okay, so Toby is Biddy
mhm,
Penny,
yeah.
and I see that our very super efficient moderators have already put her channel in the chat as well.
Mhm.
We also have Denise, and of course, and Teresa is here naturally. She did the
Hi,
Bitty Penny
ladies.
thing. Um, Judy G. Junk Journals, who I found out lives in my province, about 6 hours
Oh,
away. So, welcome, Judy. And I just need to tell you guys just when you think that there's no possible way to screw up, um, I'm wrong. There is. So this morning I got an email from Beth saying, slight little problem with the time of this live. Apparently I had scheduled it for 5 a.m. rather than 5 p.m. today. So I don't know about any of you, but I was still sawing logs at 5 a.m. So thank goodness that you and actually whoever tipped you off, um, you know, brought it to my attention so that I could fix it. I see that Denise has already written a comment in here. Uh, so Denise is blessed sevenfold 777, and she says, I really tried not to purchase for 1 week. I did not make it. This is the week that my local thrift store launches Christmas. I controlled my spending, so that's good. Thanks for sharing and inspiring me. Okay. So what and I don't know Barbara Thomas Art. Is that your friend as well?
mhm. Yeah, it is.
Very good. Your
Hi,
peeps are
Barbara.
showing up.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm making notes on this because of course unless I uh, do the replay, any new names that come up kind of in one ear and out the other. So let's begin at the beginning. Do you want to tell us a bit about how old your channel is and how you landed on that particular name for your channel?
Okay, so my channel's not even 2 years old yet. It'll be 2 years old in January. And the name, it just kind of came. I wanted a name that I could kind of do whatever I wanted to do. I didn't want to be tied down to one kind of craft or another. If I wanted to pivot from one thing to another, if I wanted to do cards or junk journals or whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to be able to do it. So I didn't want that really to be in my name.
Yeah.
And I just kind of thought about my craft room and what it meant to me. And I'm like, well, it's my happy place. It's where I go to, feel good about myself. And so I ended up kind of doing the research and seeing if there was already one, because I'm like, well, certainly,
It's
everybody calls
taken.
things they love their happy place, right? So certainly
Yeah.
somebody's already got this name. Well, nobody had it. And I was like, okay, well, we'll check out Instagram and Facebook and see if somebody has it on there. Nope. Googled it. Nobody had it. Okay, it's mine now. Now it's mine. I'm taking it. So that's how it
Yeah.
kind of came to
Well,
be.
that's very cool. And I think that we were talking about this before we went live, that that the way I became aware of your existence was that you popped up in the chat here at one of these live to live
Mhm.
live to lives, one of these heart to heart things. And you were active in the chat, like you weren't you weren't hiding out in the wings. You were participating and so on, and kind of funny, I thought. And I followed the breadcrumbs back to your channel and decided that, hey, I'm going to see if you're willing to be a guest. So that's how that happened. And obviously I'm glad that you said yes.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell me how you heard about me?
Yes, I actually heard about you because you interviewed Mama Juju, and I was familiar with her. I've watched her several times, and I would catch her in the evenings sometimes, and I really liked her. And I didn't actually catch it live. Somebody told me about it and it had already happened. They were like, hey, did you see Mama Juju's interview? And I was like, no, who interviewed her? And they were like, Hazel did. And I'm like, who is Hazel? Like, how do I not know about this person? And they sent me the link, and I was like, okay. So I checked out the replay, and I really loved the interview. I liked it because it wasn't like, what's your favorite glue, type of thing. It's like you really got to know who she was. And so I liked that. And so then I looked and saw that you had other ones, and I was like, so then I went down the rabbit hole and I started watching them all and watching all your old videos and stuff. And I was like, I really like her. I'm going to keep watching her. So that's what I did.
Well, thank you for saying that. There are other people here. Okay, we said Barbara Thomas. Slapping paint on paper.
That's Karen McCoy. Yes. Hi, Karen.
She says, hey, Beth. And Sandra's here from Blossom and Inspire. And Norma Gwen Watson.
That's Norma. She's the one that got us on time. She's the one that told me, hey, that's wrong. You need to see if you can get that fixed. Hi,
Norma. Well, this is really good. Sometimes I get the feeling that maybe the guests don't do quite the same job in spreading the word to their peeps. And I don't know, maybe there's a shyness or a self-consciousness or whatever. Maybe they're going to diss their family and friends, who knows? So they don't want them to know. But your people are showing up in droves, so that's great. Gwen the Trash Witch is here. Carmen Rosas is here. Mickmo's mom Terry is here. And then these guys are just all saying hi to each other. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think we have to start ignoring them and just, oh my goodness, these people are active. And I think because Teresa and Carol are so good at adding links into the chat, just communicate amongst yourselves if you have a channel and maybe the girls can't find it, because obviously, and Gigi's here, we're hoping to, do shout outs to each other, support each other, grow each other's channels, cross-pollinate our viewers, and so on. And it looks like you've got some fans. Carmen is saying, we love you, Beth.
Aww.
That's me. That's my voice. I don't know.
That sounded like her.
So you talked about Happy Place Crafting as your channel title, but you have a tagline. Do you want to tell us what the tagline is? Crafting therapy for the soul.
Crafting therapy for the soul. Yeah. I say it so much I forget it. Yeah, okay. Because crafting is my therapy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think that you're obviously not alone in thinking that, believing that. I mean, so many of us feel that way. And Lori is here from Enchanted Dreams. Hi, Lori. So I think that, like, I know that when I, scoped out your channel, one of the first things I always do is I go you know, when you're on someone's homepage and there's the more. So I clicked on the more, and there's, you know, where the country a person lives in, how many videos, how many views, um, you know, the different links to whatever else might be going on, whether it's Facebook, Etsy, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
You had a kind of a bigger paragraph than some people do. And the thing that struck me in what you said about yourself was that you suffer from agoraphobia. And
Mhm.
um, again, I never seek for, you know, to sensationalize anything. I'm always approaching things from the perspective of I want to know more. I want to learn about this. Who better to learn about something than to talk to somebody who is living it? So, is and we'll get into that in a minute, and I know that you're going to say as much or as little as you choose to about it. But is that, given that you have this, for lack of a better word, this label or this diagnosis, is that why you're is that sort of the double meaning to the word therapy? Or is it more significant in your case because you have this condition that you're grappling with?
Um, I feel like, so wait, you're saying because of my agoraphobia that crafting is my therapy? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that was a long, convoluted way of getting there. But yeah, is it especially meaningful to you because of that?
Yeah, I would say probably. I mean, not just because of my agoraphobia, really, but I mean, because I have like anxiety and depression too. I think that kind of, it can be kind of like a lonely world, right?
Yeah.
So, I think you find things to kind of keep busy and keep your mind occupied, and crafting is a good way to do that.
Yeah. So if someone in the watching this either today or as a replay, what's the layman's definition of agoraphobia? Like, how do you talk about it in layman's terms?
I would say, I mean, I don't know the exact definition, but agoraphobia is really somebody who, there's usually like other things that go along with it. It's not usually just agoraphobia, but it leads a person to not like want to leave their home, um, or if they do, or their safe space. It's not always just their home, because like I can go to some places, but I don't go out very often. And when I do, it's usually only to places that I'm very familiar with and that I'm comfortable with. And I don't ever go anywhere by myself. Um, so, and I haven't like always had agoraphobia like to this extent either. Like it's I've had it for like um since like 2019, right before COVID, actually. So, yeah, I mean, like this wasn't always my life. I lived in, fairly normal life, like most people do. Um, it can be hereditary, like other things. My mom suffered from it when she was younger. And so, you know, I, I don't really know the exact definition of it. I just know that it just causes you not to want to be um, around a ton of people and in society very much for one reason or another.
It almost sounds like uh, eh, like those of us that are introverts and
Right.
are very, very happy staying home. But I guess, you know, the difference between a preference and a barrier, like if I choose to stay home because I'm happy here and because I'm an introvert, that's different than somebody who feels or who has physical feelings, physical discomfort when they go out. So,
Right.
is agoraphobia connected to panic attacks or no?
Yes, often. And that's kind of how mine started. I started getting panic attacks, horrible panic attacks, out of nowhere. And I didn't understand where they were coming from. I didn't even know what they were. Several times I thought I was having a heart attack. I went to the emergency room a couple times thinking I was having a heart attack, um, because I'd never had panic attacks before. And um, that's kind of how it all started. And then they just progressively got worse. And, if you've never had a panic attack, you don't know, but panic attacks are like, um, probably one of the worst things I've ever experienced. They're really pretty horrible. And they're hard often to get out of, and difficult to get out of by yourself. A lot of times they last for quite a long time, longer than you would anticipate that they would. And, um, you know, then eventually the fear of having a panic attack, causes you to switch your life around, right? It makes you avoid, like, I'm the queen of avoidance. I am the queen of avoidance. I can avoid like you would not believe. Um, but yeah, you don't want to put yourself in those positions or those situations where you had a panic attack.
Yeah.
And so then, you start avoiding them. And I was having them in stores, I was having them at work, um, you know, being out in public places a lot. And, and my daughter, Sophie, at the time, she was young, and her and I would be out by ourselves in a store or something, and I would start to have a panic attack. And then it would make me like, my anxiety would get worse because I would feel like, um, here she is,
Everybody's looking.
little. And what is somebody, what if something happens to me? What if I am having a heart attack or whatever?
Yeah.
And they have to take me away? What is going to happen to her? Like, it's just her and I.
Yeah.
So that would kind of make it worse. So yeah, I mean, they're
So,
just horrible.
of course, I'm full of follow-up questions. So, is a panic attack is a physical manifestation? So, it physical symptoms. So, is
Yes.
it shortness of breath, racing heart,
Yep.
the feeling of impending doom, like
Yes.
something horrific is going to happen?
Yes.
And so you said that sometimes you can't get out of it yourself, or you can't get out of it without help. So how does a person get out of it?
Well, I mean, there's lots of things that are supposed to help you get out of it that don't always, they
Work.
don't, I've been in therapy for a long time. So they've told me to, given me all the tricks, but they don't always work, because when you're in the moment, you don't really think of those things, right? Like, I even have a bag in my purse that's got like candy in it, and ice packs, and, kind of different stress balls and things like that, because you're supposed to be able to bring yourself out of it. But you can't. It's very difficult. And that's why I usually go somewhere, when I go somewhere, it's always with somebody who knows, and I can say, like, look, you know, I'm I'm not right, I'm not feeling okay. And they know, and a lot of times it's distraction. Distraction is my best way to get out of it. Is, like my oldest daughter, Katie, she's really good about distracting me and getting me, talking me to me and getting me out of it. But yeah, it's difficult to get out of sometimes.
I can't, I really can't imagine how debilitating that can be to a person. Did you have to quit working because of it?
Hmm. Yeah, well, um, one day, this is how my agoraphobia came about. Um, One day I went to go to work, and I literally could not get myself out the door. I couldn't get out the door. And like, I just couldn't walk out the door. And no matter how hard I tried, and like, I needed to. And it was, it really kind of pissed me off, because my life was really good. Like, my life has been kind of crazy and crappy sometimes. And like, my life was really good. And I had my own place, and I had a really good job. I had a brand new car. Like, I made good money. My kids were all doing great. Like, my life was really good, and now all of a sudden I'm having all these panic attacks, and and then one day I can't walk out my front door to go to work. And I remember calling my daughter and just crying and saying, look, I cannot go out the door, and yeah. So she's like, Mom, it's okay, just stay home. And then the next day came and I still couldn't walk out the door. And it just, that's how it started. And I tried to get on like short-term disability. My job wouldn't do it. So here I'm at home, and I'd used up all my vacation, and my job was pretty understanding, but only to a certain point. And that's understandable,
Yeah.
And so, eventually I lost my job, and I went like over a year without any income. I had to live off my savings. I depleted my savings until I got a diagnosis by, my daughter took me to the doctor, and then, I had fallen into a horrible, horrible deep depression because I'd lost my job. I didn't have any income. I've got these kids to support. At that time, I had 3 children at home to support by myself. So, yeah, I mean, it was a pretty horrible time. And it was like nothing that I wanted. It made me so angry, that it was happening. And I didn't understand why it was happening or even what it was,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you said that you went to a doctor and got a diagnosis. So is it one of those things where, there isn't a real test to say, yes, she's positive. She came back positive for agoraphobia. Is it more a case of like an interview and listening to symptoms and history and sort of a process of elimination, and they rule out a whole bunch of other things, and they say, well, more than likely it sounds like it could possibly be agoraphobia?
No, my doctor, like, he talked to me, he listened to me, and then he was like, well, this is what I think it is, but I don't know, so I'm sending you to a psychiatrist to be diagnosed. And so he sent me to a psychiatrist, and I had to have like a sit down interview and a long discussion with him about my history and my past, and just everything that had been going on. And that's when I got the diagnosis.
And sorry, is there, I mean, other than, your purse full of distractions and tools and so on, is there is there a treatment plan for it, or is it more a management thing? Like you can't be cured necessarily, but you can manage and minimize the symptoms.
Well, I mean, I don't know that you're ever really like totally cured from it, but they do give you tools to like help manage. A lot of it's like exposure therapy and stuff like that. But what causes it are things that have happened in the past. So like really it's a lot of that's like what's at the root of it, right? Is like that's why it happened to me like at a time in my life when my life was really good, because I spent most of my life in like this survival mode, right? Where like I was just getting through every day. You just got to survive the next day, the next day, the next day. Well, finally I got to a point where I didn't have to just survive anymore. I was able to live, right?
Yeah.
But then my brain was like, hold on a minute. That's what you thought. You thought you were going to get to just glide on out through life, right? No way, that's not going to happen. Now you're going to deal with all this stuff that you never dealt with in the past. And that's pretty much what happened. So now I have to deal with all the stuff that I never dealt with. And that takes a lot of time. And that's really the only way to get through it, is to just deal with all that stuff. But as quick as it felt like I fell into it, the process of getting out of it is so very slow and difficult. And there's a lot of, like, I've been going to counseling for a long time, but it's like constant work. So
Yeah. I think that you're incredibly strong for saying all this, and I really appreciate the fact that you've been so open because
Oh,
honestly, it how can people understand or empathize with what somebody else might be going through if no one is willing to talk about it in a real way? So, and I just know that I just want to bring to your attention some of the comments that have come up because there's a lot of support here as
oh,
well. Oh, hi, Yvette. Um, Teresa said that her sister has something similar. When she goes out, she gets anxiety. Biddy Penny says, my father had agoraphobia too. I'm very familiar with it, though it was difficult to understand as a teenager when it first affected him.
yeah, it is hard.
Slapping, okay, slapping. Karen says, uh, I can totally understand that my dad was also, but understanding came later. Judy says, I have social anxiety, which I feel is kind of related. Panic attacks are scary because you don't know if it's a real heart attack or a panic attack.
Mhm.
So that's something too. You feel your life is in jeopardy.
Mhm.
Okay, Norma says, I was homebound for years as a caregiver for our disabled son, and I have social anxiety when I go out. Now, I don't know if this, I don't mean to laugh if this isn't intended to be funny, and I don't know Karen well enough, but she says, that's how I feel when I have to go to my in laws.
It's
Uh,
meant for it to be funny.
if it's funny, we're laughing with you. If you were serious, well, you have our condolences. Uh, Biddy Penny, who is Toby, says, Beth, you're so courageous and brave-hearted to share your story.
No.
Gigi says that she has a daughter who gets anxiety attacks and it's awful. Sandra says panic attacks are so mean. Mine come on all of a sudden, but it's just intense pain. My jaw hurts and feels stuck. Swallowing is hard. Chest and shoulder blade dull, constant pain. What else here? Toby's dad had a similar experience. Teresa says, last time my sister tried to come visit, they made it to the state line in Wisconsin and had to turn around. Hers was related to her marriage and the trauma surrounding that. Um, Judy is saying, yes, Beth, you're incredibly strong and brave to talk about this so openly. And Norma says, you're so strong to share your story. So again, I really, oh, and Gigi is saying, everyone just thinks you're awesome because you're strong and you're sharing. So, whether you know it or not, or believe it or not, I think you've done us all a public service today by saying that. And I just, again, you're more than your diagnosis, so we're not going to spend much more time on this. But I do want to ask because I don't know the answer. Do you think that it is sort of similar to PTSD in a way?
I do have PTSD. Yes. I'm also diagnosed with that. And yeah, I think it's a lot very similar in some way. Yeah, I would say. I mean, for me, they're absolutely related. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think it's, I don't know. I think it's, however, a lot of those things I think feel like are really connected in a lot of ways, right? And that's why I feel like so many of us, a lot of people who have depression have anxiety, a lot of people who have anxiety have panic attacks, a lot of, so I think they're all kind of intertwined sometimes in a lot of ways. One thing causes another thing that causes another thing. And
Yeah.
it's just, if you're able to get it stopped, if you're able to get help, um, or like, where your mind goes, or what type of person you are. I kind of feel like that has a lot to do with it. I do want to say though that um one of the reasons I'm not probably more vocal about my agoraphobia is I don't want people to like feel sorry for me. Because I don't like look at myself or my life like I'm a victim, and I don't want other people to look at me like that. Because I'm a survivor for real. Like I'm a for real survivor. I've survived, and we all are, right? We all survive a lot of crap in our lives, and
Yeah.
some worse than others, and some better than others. And
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I don't talk about. I guess I talk about my depression more than I do the agoraphobia, because I don't want people to like pity me. You know what I mean? And you're right, that isn't like who I totally am. It's part of who I am, and it's a big part of who I am, really. And I do want to talk about it, and that's why I have talked about it tonight, is because I want other people to know that they're not alone, and
Yeah.
that there are people out there. I know that when I first got diagnosed with agoraphobia, and I didn't totally understand it, and I still don't really totally understand it, that I reached out and I found a Facebook group, and it had other people that had agoraphobia that were dealing with similar things, and it made me feel a little bit better. Like I wasn't, because I thought I was for real losing my mind. Like I thought, that's it, you're checking out. They're gonna commit you, so it was good to know that I wasn't alone. And I guess that's the reason that it's in my bio and things, because I don't want people to ever feel like they're alone, because
Yeah.
that's a really bad place to be in. So,
Well, I think that again, I'll repeat it. I think that you are doing us a service by saying this. And I also like that you wanted to make clear that you're not a victim, because
right,
we all know that regardless of what the problem, issue, diagnosis might be, there are some people that turn that thing into their whole persona. And there's nothing that they can't stop talking about it. They can't stop wallowing, whatever. But you are clearly, it is what it is. You're working on it. You're doing the hard work of therapy. You're using the coping tools that you were given. Um, but you also are trying to help other people avoid feeling that they are losing their minds and they are alone. And I
right,
just want to again say, so Teresa says, thank you for sharing, Beth. Sometimes people may not understand themselves, and you might be helping someone without knowing.
mm,
Because can you imagine that there could be somebody watching who is having similar feelings and hasn't connected the dots yet? And
yeah,
it could drive them to seek, the help that they need. Julie from Day Trip Vintage says, I came in quietly and I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing your survivor story and experiences. Carol says, I definitely see a brave, overcoming woman in you, Beth. Carmen says, 100% you're a dear survivor. Um, Toby says, you're not alone and you can live a full life just as you are. So, on that happy note, let's switch some gears here. Um, when I watched some of your videos, I thought that you must now. Before we went live, you told me that you still have a couple kids living at home, including a 15-year-old. I think you said 15 or
hmm
16-year-old,
hmm
and so we're calling her the IT department. I was wondering if that's how you managed to throw so much technology and bells and whistles at your channel. I noticed on your, say this is a video screen, you've got a link to coffee, you've got a graphic wrapped around your screen, you've got hashtags, you've got a QR code, for heaven's sakes, you've got usually classical music playing in the background, and I think I might have missed one. How in the Lord's name do you do that?
um, it's just, it didn't start out that way. For real. I don't know. I just see other things on people's channels and I'm like, can I do that? And And if so, how do I do it, right? So I kind of just Google and YouTube and ask Chat GPT, because that's become my new best IT friend. Um, and and I have a graphic arts background, so I'm not like totally unfamiliar with some of the tech stuff. So um, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm a lifelong long learner like you are, Hazel. I love to learn new things. And so if I see something, I figure it out. That's just, and I'm always been like that. So
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot some of the little things are animated too. I'll add that to my list. Animation.
yeah.
Did your previous job require you to do some of this kind of techie stuff, or is that just a personal interest you have?
No, it's kind of just something I've just kind of mess around with. No, actually, I haven't worked in the graphics field since I got out of high school. I worked for a graphics company for a while. Then I started having kids, and my career kind of went out the toilet. Um,
Oh, and
and
you also have the logo with a little old lady and a top knot and funky glasses. And I noticed that in some of the videos. Oh, and that's another thing. You do screen on screen, screen in screen, I guess it's called. So no top knot today.
no,
And
ask Carmen. It was on earlier. She was like, "Are you going to put your hair down?"
so are those just readers that you keep perched on the edge of your nose?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
don't
yeah.
need them right now, but I do to do everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that logo is your alter ego.
Yeah, she's my ego.
Except I think didn't you make her hair gray?
Yeah, her hair is gray, but my hair is actually grayer than it appears right now. I mean, it's not dyed, but my hair is getting grayer. So,
You want to talk gray?
well, it's not pretty gray like yours is, Hazel, but it will be someday.
Uh, yeah. Uh, okay, so one of the things I heard you say in a video recently is that you had your first kid at age 17
Hmm.
and that, life was sort of complicated. You were also, or maybe, well, obviously this didn't all happen at the same time because of, you know, pregnancies take time, but you had, I think, 3 kids and you were getting a divorce and all of that. And because that first pregnancy was kind of early in your life, that put an end to your post secondary, whatever.
Hmm.
But that you then, in the midst of all this mothering and, life change, and God knows motherhood is kind of a kick in the butt sometimes in itself, especially if you have several kids close together, you decided to go back to school. So tell us how in the world you managed that and what field you studied and so on.
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I I'd always wanted to go to college, but yeah, I couldn't go to college, when I got out of high school like most people do, because I mean, I was a mom and I had, to support my kid. And so I didn't really have time. Plus the technology back then was way different, than it became in the future and is now. Um, and I was, I had, let's see, when I went to college, I had actually all 5 of my kids by the time I started college, because Sophie was a baby and she's my youngest. So I had a couple that were like kind of adultish, and then 3 at home at that time. And I thought, I was working this job, which I was like, not thrilled about, but it was a job. It made the ends meet and everything. And I'm like, I don't really want to be doing this my whole life. And I was going through a really, really bad divorce. And um, through that, and I got a lawyer through Capital University Law School. They ended up doing my divorce pro bono for me. And I kind of became close to my lawyer, and I was like, I kind of feel like I want to do something, kind of to give back in this type of field to help other people kind of like me. And I knew I couldn't do that unless I went back to school. So I thought, well, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to take something maybe that, like I knew I wanted to be like in a helping field somehow, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so I was like, well, I'm going to take medical and maybe, like go that route. And I signed up with University of Phoenix. There were advertisements all over on every single commercial back then, online, University of Phoenix. So I signed up with them. They had a really good program, and I got into my first class, and it was an anatomy class. And I was like, this is not for me. I cannot do this.
Okay, knee bone connected to the jawbone.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
And my memory is like, my memory is not that great. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to memorize all this stuff. And I remember calling my academic counselor and being like, look, you got to get me out of this, And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't really know now what I want to do. And he's like, well, he sent me this test. And he's like, I want you to take this test so we can see, maybe where you should go. And I said, okay. So I took the test and I called him back and I'm like, well, it says that, I need to be in some kind of like criminal law or psychology field. And he's like, okay, well, which one sounds more appealing to you? And I'm like, well, let's try the psychology thing. And he was like, okay, let's try that. So that's what I went in. And I took it for 4 years, got my bachelor's in science, and that was that. So
I thought you were going to pick the criminology because
I should have.
Because you love Murder, She Wrote.
I should have, really. I kind of felt like I wanted to be in a field that I felt like could help others. And actually when I told my lawyer I was going back to school and that I was taking psychology, she was like, oh, that just makes sense for you. She was like, of course you want to help people, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want to help people that are struggling. So yeah, I did take it for 4 years, and I wish I would have. I actually loved college. I really, really, really loved it. I loved studying. I loved learning. I didn't mind that it was online because I'm really, like self-regimented. I don't have any issues with that. And I found it, I just really loved it. And it was crazy because when I was in school, I did not love school. Like I went to school like Sophie does to be like social, like that was my social time. I wasn't trying to study hard or, I got okay grades, but that wasn't my thing. I wanted to go to the football games and the proms and things like that. I didn't care about the rest of it. So it was funny that I liked college so much, but I think I liked college because, I had an opportunity to like present my thoughts to other people and they would listen to them. Right. And, that was probably something I was really lacking at that part of my life, was feeling heard, and I felt like, they wanted to know your opinion on things. They weren't just trying to teach you and make you memorize a bunch of stuff. They like wanted you to really think. Like I had no idea what critical thinking was until I went to college. I had no idea. Like, and I was like, why don't they teach this to kids when they're younger? Like, what is the problem here? They should be teaching this. But yeah. So that's that long story. Sorry.
Well, no, I think that's awesome. Again, I think that you deserve a lot of credit for, bucking the odds and doing a 4-year program with a house full of kids and as what they used to call, maybe they still do call mature students.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God for long distance learning also.
Yes.
That has made, that's a game changer for people.
Hmm. Yeah, it was
Um,
for sure.
and I totally, when you said that about, I got to express an opinion and they listened to what I was saying and they cared about it. And that honestly, it was like I got a little shiver because I'm thinking that you probably hit it on the nail. You probably hit the nail on the head when you said that, because how many of us are in situations where we're engaging in meaningful discussions, where all the synapses are firing, everything is working as it should. We're making, having important discussions about important things in a respectful, um, non-superficial way. I think so many people are going through life, kind of from pillar to post without actually putting that part of their brains to use, or being in situations where you need to up your game. Like, it's easy to fall down to the lowest common denominator where people are talking about the weather or complaining about the government, or the price of lettuce or whatever.
Hmm.
And God knows those are legitimate things to be worried about. um, but how many people are having discussions that aren't just gossipy but are real conversation? So thank you for saying that. I do want to read more of the comments. Norma says, we love Beth's daughter, Sophie. And someone else earlier said, where's Sophie? And you told me before we went live that early on she was part of your videos, because you'd sometimes do some live videos together. So it
Hmm.
sounds like she might have been a little channel mascot or something.
She was. They loved her. She's ornery.
Ornery. Um, Junk Journal Joanne says, sorry, I'm late to the party.
Oh.
Okay, and then Dawn H Creates is here. Welcome, Dawn. And I have to keep looking at my cheat sheet. Toby says that it sounds like that test that counselor suggested was on point. Um, oh, and she also says we're all here for the story. Okay, so I think we're kind of caught up there. Now, so again, we're not doing a timeline of your life necessarily. So did you had the opportunity to work in the field?
No,
Oh,
I never did. I never used it. I mean, like, it helped me. Okay. Up until then, I had always taken like, um, I've kind of thumbed my nose at college, right? Because I felt like people went to college and then they never did whatever their degree was in, right? They ended up in other jobs. But then as I got older, I realized I kind of feel like college is like paying your dues so that you are able to get the better jobs, right? Because I don't really think that they care what your degree is in. I think they just want to see that you paid for one and that you earned it, right? And that you put the work in. That's what they want. And so, because of that degree, I never did go into that field, but I got a really good job in finance because of that degree.
yeah.
So, like I said, it didn't have anything to do with psychology, and it really wasn't in a field that I really was thrilled about. But it was a better job and it was a good paying job, So, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten that if I didn't have that degree. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I never got to use it.
Well, and I'm of the firm belief that nothing that we do to improve ourselves, whether it's taking a course, reading a book, listening to an audio book, whatever format that takes, listening to a live interview, everything we do that increases our understanding and awareness is never wasted. And honestly, what you said, I think, is totally true in that, um, yes, they want to know that a person has started and completed something, and that you were exposed to that, to the need for critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because they're, the field is littered with people who have dropped out or flunked out by Christmas the first year. So just
Right.
finishing is an accomplishment. So that's really good. Plus, any psychology course, because of course I took a whole bunch of those too in getting my which I'm not using, the social service thing. Um, but it is information that helps us for our own awareness, and helps us understand other people's behavior. So that's nothing to sneeze at either. Toby says, I'm cooking dinner and I'm sending you thumbnails on Instagram. Okay, let me see what else I have here. Uh, I noticed that a lot of your most recent content is under the hashtag dear prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you originated? And is that something that follows a monthly schedule?
Yes, it is something that I originated. I started it, I think, in August, and I started it because I kind of fell into the prompt world, and I really loved it. I liked the prompts. I liked the challenge of it, and Biddy Penny, I was on with her, and I made a prompt deck right together, and she kind of taught me how to do that, and um, we had all these prompts, and I'm like, I really want to do something with this. I really enjoy prompts, and I felt like by using them, it made me kind of, it forced me to think outside the box. And because I felt like a lot of the journals that I was working on, I was doing the same old thing over and over and over again, and I didn't want to be doing that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be doing something different. And so I was like, maybe this will help me get out of my like comfort zone a little bit. And so I started doing them, and now I'm kind of, then shortly after that, I kind of was falling back into a little bit of a depression, and I felt like it took two things that I loved. I loved making journals, and I love doing prompts. And so it took those and it married them together, and it held me accountable. Like, if I did a prompt, if I did one every day, then I had to like come into my craft room and show up every day, right? And the YouTube channel kind of holds me accountable for that as well. Like, if I don't, maybe there's nobody listening, and sometimes there probably is not, right? But if there's just one person listening, I don't want to disappoint that one person when I don't show up, right?
Yeah.
So that holds me accountable and makes me show up every day. And I was kind of struggling with trying to figure out what I'm going to do every day. And so that kind of gave me a little bit like of a routine too, which I needed. Like, every morning I come in here and, I turn the camera on and I do the prompts.
Yeah.
And I also was finding like I was using a lot of my materials and things that I hadn't used before, and that it wasn't like I had to use what was here. I couldn't go create new things. I couldn't get on the phone, pick up my phone and buy something, to fit into whatever it was. I had to use what I had. So that's kind of how it fell into place.
It
So
sounds like there are a lot of benefits to it. It's
yeah,
a reason, it's structure, but yet it's also unpredictable. So it
yeah,
avoids the boredom of doing same old, same old.
yeah.
Um, it adds routine, and it uses up what you have. So what's not to love about that?
Right.
So
Yeah.
basically, if was it 4 different categories that you have?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you draw these cards. They're playing cards that you've altered,
Hmm.
and it tells you what you're going to do. Now, I've often thought, as somebody who doesn't edit anything and is becoming aware that I think my videos are too long for the most part,
Mine too.
it seems like that's a pretty brave thing to try to do live, to go from the picking to the completion in the space of one video. So, but yet that's exactly what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I'm a little crazy. Have we not talked about that part of it?
Yeah.
So
Um,
yeah, that's what I do. I mean, yeah, and sometimes I'm stuck. Like sometimes last month when it was Inktober, I incorporated Inktober into my prompts. So that was 5. That was really difficult for me because number one, I'm not like an artist. I don't draw really. And the prompts I felt like were really super hard. So but I'm not like really I'm not really like trying to teach anybody anything, right? I want people to hang out with me and kind of, have fun.
yeah.
And so I'm not like claiming I'm an artist or, anything. Um but I also felt like in the process doing something every day with Inktober, let's say for instance, having to force myself to draw in some way every day with ink. Um by the end of it, I was better than I was in the beginning. So,
Go figure, eh?
right. Yeah. I mean, practice does make perfect. It's not perfect, but it makes something better at least. So,
Yeah, exactly. Um, well, okay, so that's interesting. And then I saw that I saw the flip through that you did off your Paddington Bear journal.
mm,
And it was very, loaded and stuffed. And,
mhm,
I thought, there's a lot of meat here. This woman has put a lot of meat on the bone.
mhm,
Um, so I was a little, well, I was shocked, frankly. I was shocked because you talked about your pricing formula
mhm,
and you said, no, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that you basically charge $20 a signature.
mhm.
And I'm thinking, that's insane. How can that be? How, like that? Isn't that too little? Mind you, I
Well,
guess you want them to sell too, but it just seems like, as a rule, aren't most of us underpricing our stuff?
I really struggle with that. And um, I'm not, I'm not a really good salesperson. That's not like my forte in life. And so that is something like I really struggle with. Like I have a coffee shop and but like I never went into the whole thing like trying to get rich, right? I just want friends. I'd want to, have a community of people that are like-minded and that I can hang out with. And
Without you having to leave the house.
right, exactly. Which yeah, so um I did struggle and with the first journal I sold to Biddy Penny actually. And when she actually kind of talked me into it because I really didn't have any inclination to do it. I feel like I put a lot of hard work into them and a lot of my soul. They're like my kids kind of by the
Yeah,
time I'm done with them,
yeah.
right? And
How can you put a price on Sophie, for heaven's sakes?
right. But then she reached out to me and she's like, "Look, I gotta have this journal. This journal belongs to me. She has to come to my house. Like, I promised you I'll take really good care of her." And I'm like, if I'm gonna sell one to somebody, I love her. I would really, like her to have one. So I was like, I don't know how to price this. And I had to figure out something that I felt like wasn't taking somebody to the cleaners, and but that I could still live with.
Yeah.
And I thought, and the $20 a signature, I felt like I could price some lower. I can do journals that are one signature that would be, $20. But I could also do journals that were four signatures, that would be, you know, significantly more money. So, and I'm like, you know, I felt like it was fair.
Yeah.
Plus I'm new and I don't,
Yeah.
um,
We're,
I
we're
also
all,
reached out to Diane actually at Pretty Pink Cottage and
you're
said,
kidding.
hey, because I never caught her journals in her shop. And I'm
Yeah.
like, by the time I would get to her shop, her journals would be gone. So I never could figure out how much she was charging for her journals.
Yeah.
And I knew she'd been doing it for a long time. And her journals I really admire and I love them. And
Yes.
I'm like, how much will you please tell me how much you're charging for your journals? And she was like 70 some dollars or something like that. And I'm like, okay, so they definitely can't be priced more than that. Right. So
Oh,
because she's been doing it for so long and I didn't feel like mine were the same quality as hers. So I figured it has to be, like kind of less than that. So
well,
that's
thanks for bringing us that intel, and thanks for being ballsy enough to ask the question in the first place.
right.
That is awesome. Judy is saying pricing is always tricky, and of course, that is. I mean, that says it in a nutshell. Um, it. I guess what it boils down to. You said that you didn't get into it to get rich. Well, clearly, none of us are getting rich.
Right.
Um, I think that we just would hope that maybe we could recoup some costs and maybe wouldn't be working for 25 cents an hour.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and I guess we're all waiting to be discovered. For those big name people who sell things quickly at hundreds of dollars a pop. Um, I don't know. Maybe our day will come, Beth. Maybe,
Yeah, I
maybe.
don't know. I mean, you look on Etsy and like, you try to kind of compare, but how can you really compare, right? It's very difficult. And some of them go for hundreds of dollars, which, yes, they're probably absolutely worth that, right?
Yeah,
And, there's, by doing them that there's the time and the effort and the materials. I'm sure that they're worth that. But the
yeah,
fact is, can everybody afford that? Probably not,
yeah,
and will people the other thing is it's interesting because I feel like the people that are in our channels that are watching it, we all kind of do the same things, right? So we're able to, see somebody and get an idea and then do that ourselves. So I think those kind of people are like less likely to buy our work. I think the people who are going to buy our work, we're probably not actually reaching those people in our channels because those people are people who can't do what we do, right? Or they don't want to do what we do. And
yeah,
those people are the ones that would be like, oh my gosh, I
yeah.
need this in my life and I'll pay $500 for it. But unfortunately, those people are not watching our YouTube channels. So,
Well, again, you said a mouthful there because it's true. Everyone is an expert. Everyone can do or think they can do the same thing at the same quality. And perhaps some of them can and some of them can't, but perception is reality.
right.
And yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Um, Another thing that I thought was really funny, you started a video and then all of a sudden you must have looked down and realized you forgot to put your rings on. So you basically had to pop up and get your rings on because you felt that you were undressed.
Right.
You do have a whole bunch of nice jewelry, I must say.
Yeah, I
So
do. I love my rings. Yeah.
I just thought that was rather funny. And I thought, yeah, I can get behind that girl. Um, the other thing that I was watching one of your videos today and you whipped, it must have been another prompt video. I think it was a prompt video. And basically, you whipped out a binder full of plastic sleeves that were, the sleeves are full of stickers. And I'm thinking, I remember when I was young and innocent and thought that was going to work for me. So, how do you describe yourself as in terms of your organizational skills and, like we can see obviously whatever there is behind you there, and it looks pretty good. Now, some people would say, "Oh, but you can't see my floor." So, what is your space like? You've got a dedicated space, I know.
Yeah, I have a craft room. I You can see my floor. If you couldn't see my floor, it would probably drive me absolutely crazy. Um, my desk, I actually always clear my desk off after I'm done with every project. Actually, I come in every day to a pretty much a clear desk. Um,
Well, you are sick.
I told you. You don't believe me, but I keep telling you. I am I need to be able to see my storing, like I am constantly evolving my storage systems here. Um and finding new ways and seeing it took me a long time to like realize that I needed to store things the way that I think, right? That when I go to look for something, because my memory is really crap sometimes, and so when I would not be able to find things most of the time, even though they were supposed to be put away nicely and labeled and all this stuff. I couldn't find them because I wasn't storing them in the right places. So I started redoing things and storing things where I would pick something up and be like, if I was going to look for this, where would I look for it at? And then that's where I would put it. And I was realizing, like, the more time went on, I was realizing that um, I look for things by color a lot. Like when I'm designing, I pretty much always start with the color. Um, and so I needed to store things by color for sure. That was something major for me. That was like a light bulb moment. Like, don't put things by, because like I would have all the stamps together and all the, um, tickets together or whatever. And I would be sorting through them forever because they weren't by color. So, and that's the way I think. I think by color. So, I started storing everything by color, and then I also started storing things by like in a theme kind of as well, as much as possible. Like now I have like all the Christmas stuff is together, all the Halloween stuff is together, and it's just in one thing that I can pull out and um, use at that time when I need it. But I have to be able to see everything, because if I can't see it, I don't have it. And that's the way with my whole life. Like my whole house is that way pretty much. Like I need to be able to see the stuff. So
I
that's
find that fascinating. And I think that line, if I was looking for, if I needed this, where would I look for it?
yeah.
Isn't that the line that Dana K. White uses?
Yeah, I think I heard it like in January when everybody was
Yeah,
doing all their
yeah.
redoing their craft room things and things like that. And I was like, wait, that really makes sense to me. Like, yes, absolutely. And she said, like, wherever your mind says and even if it doesn't make any sense really as to where that is, that's where you should put it, because that's where your brain thinks it needs to be. And it was like, yes, absolutely. That's where it needs to be. And so that was a light bulb moment for me as
Yeah.
well. Like, um, for sure. Like that's what you need to do and how you need to store them. It made total
That,
sense to me.
that is, yeah, I think, well, I'm going to write that down again because I watched a number of those videos in January as
Yeah.
well. And it did seem to make sense at that time. One thing that I um, find interesting like I too am driven by color. That is the number one factor in my approach to things. I just I'm trying to think whether that would help me, and if it don't you need a heck of a lot more space if you have to um let me think of an example, or maybe talk about, if you can think of a particular example, like you mentioned stamps. Stamps don't take up, you're talking postage stamps, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so those don't take up much space. Maybe talk about another category where color would be the thing, because I'm thinking that, there are a lot of colors out there. Now, of
Right.
course, you
Well,
could use broader categories like all the blues together, all the greens.
that's what I do. I do use like just the primary colors and then sort it by that because I figure like that's sorted down enough. And then like black and white and browns and grays, I just consider those neutrals, so I put those
Yeah.
all together. Um, and then like, well, like let's say paper scraps. That's like a pretty big category, right? For us all,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Um, those I have sorted all by color. I have them in bags. I have them all sorted by color, and I've tried different things with them. I had them like all in a basket, kind of like cut up into size and sorted that way, the smaller ones. And then I realized I felt like I was still always sorting through that. I wanted to just be able to pull one, whatever color I needed, and that was what I would have. So I started putting them in like these plastic, like kind of like pencil bags. Like they have a thing where you could put them in a binder if you wanted, but I don't put them in a binder. But so now I store those in those. And then like with my big paper, I store like all the bigger paper scraps. I store them by color as well, but I store them with the new sheets of color. You see, does that make sense? Like if I have a bunch of red, then at the end of the red, I put a folder that's got all the red, bigger scraps there if I'm looking for something larger. So I definitely store my paper that way. But like even beads and buttons and like everything in here is pretty much by color. My paints, my envelopes, everything is stored by color pretty much. And I don't think it takes up that much more room really.
Well, and I'm going to be pondering pondering this, because I think that the organization, and like Maya Angelou used to say, when we know better, we do better. So it's a process of evolution and figuring out how we work,
Mhm.
what works, what doesn't work for us,
Right.
and so on. So I would say that if there's anything that is common to all of us, is the fact that we're constantly organizing and constantly trying to make improvements to it.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely willing to see if I can take that a step further, because of course, like I have my 12 by 12 papers sorted in color groups. I have those bigger zippered pouches for colored scraps, sorted by color and so on. Um,
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if I could, excuse me, take it a step further. Sorry, my voice is leaving me. I do want to catch up with some of the chat though, because Norma's saying that all of her paper is sorted by color. Um, Slapping paper. Karen says that she needs to get her papers organized. Norma says all of her paper is sorted by color. It helps me the color I need. It helps me find the color I need better. Gwen says my ribbons and paper are by color. Items would probably be helpful by color too. Carol says that she does her scrap paper in trays sorted by color. And Julie says she organizes her postage stamps by colors too and sorts her paper by type and category. And she bets it's so much quicker to store paper by color. Carol says she sorts by color, but all the like items are together. And because she does memory keeping stuff, she also sorts by decades because that makes her find stuff easier. Carmen says that she stores things together and color too. Oh, see, and Toby says she goes by theme and product type. So, similarities, differences, and people who are willing to try the color thing on for size and see how it works. I find that color makes sense, but I just don't know that I've taken it as far as I probably can. But I think because of you, I'm going to try a little bit harder with that. Now, because you've been a faithful viewer since you found us through Mama Juju, that I always ask about thrifting. So, does your difficulty going out curtail your ability to thrift? And is that a blessing or a curse?
My kids would probably say it was a blessing, but no, I am able to go out sometimes, some places, and some places that I'm like comfortable with and familiar with. And like I try to go, like if I need to go somewhere, I go when it's a time when I don't think a lot of other people are going to be there. Right. So I do thrift a little bit. Not as much as you, my dear.
What are you talking about?
I watch your videos and I'm like, where does she put all this stuff? I want to know.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I love to watch those videos because I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I could find some stuff like that. Because I do really like the authentic kind of stuff, right? And we all do, and we all kind of cherish it, and
perhaps hoard it.
Yeah. Because then it's too precious to use, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I don't have a ton of that kind of stuff because I feel like I'm still kind of newer. I have gotten lucky, going to some places and finding things, kind of by accident. But yeah, I don't do a ton of thrifting, and I don't really, I've watched some of like the online sales. Like, I wish I could take advantage of yours or Kim Newberg's. So I said I need to move to Canada because you guys get some pretty cool stuff there. But yeah, I don't really take advantage of any of those kind of online things either, because I'm cheap and I don't really like to pay all the shipping. So yeah, I thrift a little bit, but not a ton. I'm not,
So are you, one of the side effects of COVID was the fact that everyone was locked down, and that of course was when online shopping, just went totally through the roof. So are you the kind of person that is on a first name basis with your Amazon delivery guy?
Yeah, all my delivery guys actually. Yeah, like
So you're not doing without.
No, I am really good at online shopping. Probably so much so that even when I have a teenage girl who does like to go out places, and she will talk me sometimes into going somewhere. And but I find that even like when we go somewhere to find her something, I'm like, I can find it online quicker and easier and usually cheaper. And lots of times we'll go to a store and to get her whatever she needs, and then they won't have her size or whatever. So we'll be sitting in the store and I'll be on my phone ordering it to have it delivered to the house. So I'm like, why are we here? I'm really good at online shopping. And as horrible as COVID was, one thing it did do was make the world a friendlier place for people like me. Because before COVID, Going to a doctor online was very difficult. They didn't really want to do it. Going to a counselor online, that was something that they weren't thrilled with either. They wanted you to come in person. Grocery shopping, buying things, online. That all became easier for me because of something horrible that happened. But and it kind of maybe gave people an understanding of how people with agoraphobia live their daily lives, because that is the way we live. We don't have access, to the things in the outside world like that everybody takes advantage of. That just
and
comes
takes for granted too.
Right. Yeah. So we had, that was one thing, that the world became kind of a friendlier place and made it easier for me, especially like with groceries and things like that.
Yeah. And I think that, it's kind of a Pandora's box kind of thing. I doubt that it's ever going to go back to the way it was. So,
Right.
you either embrace it or you avoid it or you're somewhere in the middle. But, it's kind of pointless to long for the good old days. Teresa's saying, I guess this is in reference to the online shopping. She says that her husband he's always buying something online. She feels a need to touch and feel things. Norma says she would rather buy online for the most part. So, people are really divided on that. I think the thing with online shopping is people have to read very carefully. Because how many times do you see people doing reveal videos and they're saying, "Oh, I didn't think it was going to be so small."
Yeah, I think you learned that the hard way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
And I would say read reviews, right? But even that is hard now because now AIs can do reviews. So you have to be very careful with that. You almost have to look for reviews with pictures, of things. And I agree. I am like, the thing that I struggle the most with online shopping is clothes, to be honest, because I am that person that, when I used to go into stores and shop, I would feel everything because how it feels is really important to me, right? I want it to be soft and I don't, you don't want kind of certain textures. So,
yeah.
So I do struggle with that a lot.
Yeah. Teresa says, Timo, always smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, it's so true. So, given that we've been talking about color, how do you feel about purple? How do you feel about purple?
I would definitely say that I am definitely team purple, not team orange. Orange is like my least favorite color in the whole thing. So my mom's favorite color was purple. My favorite color used to be purple a long time ago. But actually now I am really actually team turquoise.
Oh,
because that is for real my favorite color. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a beautiful color. Carol says, my daughter wants a rusty tractor seat for yard decor, and I found the cheapest one on eBay and thankfully realized it was miniature before I ordered it. Carol, we have rusty tractor seats right here in our yard on our farm. Honestly, really, it's buyer beware, kids. And she says, and it was $28.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And now, you said that your agoraphobia came on later in your life because because you went to school for the social life.
Right. Yeah, I did.
So I'm almost afraid to ask you, introvert or extrovert, or are you somewhere caught in the middle?
I would say at this point in my life, I'm for sure an introvert. But I wasn't always, which is interesting. Um, I think growing up, I was, a very different person. And um, I was very social, like my daughter Sophie is, and um, was doing all the things and was in all the things. I was in drama club. I mean, like, I was in choir. I was in all those things. So, um, and I've always had growing up, I always had a ton of friends. So, um, it wasn't until later in life and life circumstances that kind of um, made me more leery of people, and trust people less.
Yeah.
So, and I think because of that, that has caused me to be an introvert, but it's kind of a struggle with me because I do, I am an introvert now, but as much as I think people misunderstand people who are introverts because I think they don't think that they're people, but they are. They still everybody needs people, right, in their lives.
Yeah.
And like I don't need 5,000 people in my life or 100 even. I just need like a few really good, like friends and people in my life. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's important. And so, yeah, I would definitely say at this point in my life, I'm an introvert, but
Yeah.
like I wasn't always that way.
Yeah. Well, I guess one thing that I've learned since doing these interviews is that people definitely do change, and there are things that, um, well, I don't know if it's not that introversion is something that that comes with a diagnosis, but I just know that someone in one of the interviews told me that she was diagnosed as ADHD, in her 30s or whatever. Whereas I think that's usually picked up when a kid is, elementary school. Anyway, so I don't know if it's a case of diagnostics are better, awareness is better, or if people fundamentally, physically, physiologically actually change over time. And I guess, maybe it doesn't matter in the long run. But it's interesting to me that people can change as much as what you've just said, like from extrovert to introvert. But again, we don't need to. I don't need to know how a microwave works to be able to use it.
Right. And I think COVID made a lot of people who weren't introverts into introverts as well. Because I think that it affected society um, in a way deeper level that I think they will be studying for years and years and years to come. Um, because it for sure changed the way that people live their lives. And I do feel like it doesn't surprise me that somebody in their 30s or 40s or 50s would be diagnosed with ADHD later in life because I constantly saying when I was in school, we didn't know what ADHD or ADD or any of that was.
Yeah,
If some kid was acting up in class or, wasn't, able to pay attention or anything, they were just like, well, that's just who they are, right? They
yeah,
weren't labeled with any specific, oh, that kid's got ADHD, right? We didn't know that. We didn't know about it. It wasn't talked about, but now everybody knows about it. Everybody talks about it like
yeah,
autism and,
yeah,
other things. But I think that's like a good thing that we are more aware and that there's less stigmatism because I think that those labels can make people feel alone.
yeah,
And so I think when we talk about it, that, then other people know that people are out there like them and
yeah.
they can
Carol
understand.
is saying Hazel, Sandra, and I live in small towns in the middle of nowhere. So grateful for the YouTube community and
Mhm.
happily an at home introvert. And I think that I would say that that is definitely the blessing of this. this forum and this platform is that, you know, especially me I live on a farm about 5 miles from a community of 400 people. So that isn't exactly a culturally enriching or cosmopolitan type of location.
Mhm.
So, how would I get to know and talk to people like you and all my other guests and people that I meet through the chat and subscribers and people in all parts of the world if
Mhm.
not for this platform? So it's definitely one of the blessings of technology.
Mhm.
Teresa's saying, Beth, my husband retired early during to COVID, so I'd agree with you on that. Judy says, I think COVID was a bit easier on introverts, but it was still isolating.
Mhm.
Um, what? Sandra is saying, Hi, Carol. I had to jump off for a bit and go to the bank. Hubby walked away from the ATM and someone stole $2,500. Is she saying that stole
Did he
his?
leave his card in?
I don't know what that means. I certainly hope that that is not you know, these poppies are great, except they have a life of their own and they pop off and you need to buy about 12 in the season because most of them end up in a parking lot somewhere. I don't understand what she's saying, but I really hope that that is not that they got scammed for $2,500.
Right. Well,
Um,
surely the ATM has like a cameras. They could prove that somebody else probably,
yeah.
hopefully.
Well, yeah. Okay, Sandra, let's hope that all turns out
Yeah.
for, you know, I saw something on one of those, you know, consumer helper type features on TV where some, you know, where they get it like an ombudsman or somebody to intervene when you're having a trouble with a certain, you know, retailer or whatever, and they get in and make the case for you. So why you don't have to pay $4,000 for your phone bill or whatever. Um, anyway, it seems that now there's a bit of a move to sort of make the customer more, put more onus on the customer to save, like to prevent fraud and stuff. And I'm thinking, we're just the poor schnooks here. We don't, our passwords aren't 1 2 3 4. We don't
Right.
give strangers our cards. Like, come on. These crooks are way more sophisticated than we are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Um, oh, so Sandra's saying, I know, but everything will work out somehow. So yeah, it sounds like they suffered the loss.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
Horrible.
um, oh yeah, they have cameras at ATMs.
Mhm.
Okay, Teresa says, I grew up in a small town. I graduated in a class of 53 people. Still have small town mentality, though she lives in Seattle.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, I watch do you ever watch the show Heartland?
Is that a Western?
It's on Netflix. Anyways,
Oh,
it's filmed in Canada. And
oh,
every time I watch it, I'm like, I wonder if this is where near where Hazel is because it's beautiful. It's like about this horse ranch and it's got like these mountains. And so every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, I think this is where Hazel lives.
well, I can see I can't see any mountains from here. But yes, you know, we've got all the trees, the bodies of water, the you know, the open vistas of the grain land and pastures and all that stuff. So yeah, I think, you know, as much as I sometimes complain about having to drive for everything, it is also one of those things where, you know, really, we need to count our blessings.
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty beautiful.
It is pretty beautiful. Uh, so tell me, are you a list maker?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. I have to make lists. My memory is not great. It never really has been. And so if I don't make lists, plus I feel like lists are really good, right? Because if you do something, then you can cross it off and then it makes you feel like you accomplished something, right? So that was one thing I learned, like when I was deep, deep in my depression, was my counselor said to me, like, look, you really got to give yourself credit for even the little things that you do, for getting out of bed in the morning, for doing the dishes, anything that seems mundane, like everybody does it. And because I'm like, I've always been one of those people, like, I'm not going to give you credit for this because this is your job as a human being. Just do it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I just don't give myself credit for it either. Right.
Yeah.
And um, so I started giving myself credit for, doing the little things. And then those little things started to become bigger things. And I started feeling like I was getting things accomplished, and it started to kind of bring me out of this depression. And so absolutely I make lists. I make tons of lists, and I cross things off the lists, and I throw the list away and I make a new list. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Are you a goal setter? Like do you have goals for your channel, for your
No,
content
not
making?
really. I mean, I guess my very first goal was I wanted 50 people, right? I wanted 50 people because I wanted to be able to do lives, and you couldn't do lives unless you had 50 people. So that was my very first goal, was I wanted 50 people. And then when I got the 50 people, I was so excited, and then I was like, well, let's see how. And so at first I was kind of like wrapped up in the numbers a little bit. And then I was like, you know what, this isn't serving me. This isn't really what I'm in here to do.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I've got my people.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like you should just do what you do and the people will come, right?
Yeah.
Your people will find you,
Yeah.
because they just will, even by accident. Like I found you, and now you're one of my people, like it or not, because I'm a little crazy, but you're one of my people. So I'm
And you're
like,
one of my people.
and I'm pretty loyal people, by the way, people. So you want me as one of your people. So
She's a people.
yeah, I am. I'm a people. But yeah, now I forget what I was talking about when I was
Well, I was asking if you had goals for your channel.
oh, goals for my channel. So no, not really. I don't like I just want to keep doing it as long as people keep showing up, and as long as it's fun.
Yeah.
If it ever becomes like if it ever feels like work to me, I probably won't do it.
Yeah.
But and as long as I keep getting, the connections and meeting new people and finding new people, yeah.
I have to stop you because there's some silliness going on in the chat. Just say. Well, anyway, I guess that we found out that the husband left his card in the ATM, so that was
Oh
bad.
no.
Anyway, so Junk Journal Joanne says, so Hazel has lots of room for all of us to go for a retreat. Now, Joanne, you'd better tell me where you live, because like if you're an Alberta person, yeah, who knows, maybe. Um, Toby says, I'm a lister for sure. I've learned she's learned to put rest on her list. That's
Oh
pretty good. A nurturing
yeah,
kind of
especially
thing
for her.
instead of hamster on a wheel kind of thing.
Hmm.
Okay, Norma's asking what province I live in. I live in Alberta. And Norma says that she was born and raised in Ontario, but married a guy from the US. So she's lived in the US for 45 years. And then Toby says, I didn't know you were Canadian. Learned something new about you. And then Toby says, Beth is a kind and loyal friend. And then Norma says, I'm still a Canadian citizen. And okay, slapping. Karen says that Beth is a loyal fan. Oh, see, Junk Journal Joanne lives in Wisconsin. Oh,
Mm.
and Joanne, wait, I'm getting all mixed up with all these new people. Karen says that you're a beautiful friend.
Oh,
Oh, see, and Carol is putting in a plug here. I haven't really talked about this on my channel, but I will now. There are four of us. I'm the token Canadian who is planning a retreat in the US in October of 2026. So stay tuned. Once we have the location nailed down, perhaps you too can join us. And I think that any of us who have been lucky enough to have met real life fellow YouTubers, junk journalers, whatever, whether they have a channel or not, have found that it's like coming home because you're talking to your own people. You know, I've said it 100 times that most of us don't have like friends and family who don't have a clue what we're doing or why we're doing it. So it becomes a sort of shorthand when you can say something and it might sound like it's in a separate language, but I'll get it because like I know what you're talking about. Yeah, if you guys are truly interested in considering a retreat with four of us YouTubers, yeah, just keep watching, keep listening, and when we're ready to announce the details, then I think it would be awesome.
that's exciting.
Because there would be no husbands, no children, God willing, no cooking. And it's just talk, laugh, hug, cry, laugh, cry, hug, talk, and craft away. Okay, Beth. So Carol, now this has to be important. She put a star on it. Beth, honest question. Do you think these people you've grown close to would be easier to meet in person?
Oh, some of them I would love to meet in person. I would really love that.
Okay, does Norma live close to you?
No. Well, kind of. She lives in Illinois, which isn't too far from me.
She says that you guys would ride together. Looks like she's planning a carpool already.
She is. She's gonna kidnap me. Yeah, there's some people I would definitely love to meet for sure. And I think about that sometimes. Like that is definitely like conundrum for me because that is kind of the difficult part about agoraphobia sometimes is that I think I have to say no a lot to things because I know I just can't do them, but that doesn't mean I don't want to do them, right?
Yeah.
Because a great big part of me wants to do all these things,
Yeah.
And then it's kind of frustrating and I get kind of angry at myself because like, why can't I just do this? It's just so simple. I used to be able to do it, right? And now why can't you do it? And so I just kind of live with the aspect of you just never know. And I have a lot of hope that someday I will be able to.
Yeah, Carol is saying, I imagine some heartache in your circumstance, sort of the recognition that it would be harder for you, even if you have a wheelman in Norma. And Norma is saying that she lives in Indiana, so I think you got her state wrong.
Oh, I did get her. She does live in Indiana, and I like send her mail and stuff, so I know that. See, this is my brain is just
okay. She still would probably give you a ride. Anyway, Joanne says, "Okay, Beth, with agoraphobia, would it be easier if someone came to your home, or is that difficult as well? So, in other words, if we had the retreat at your house,
Number one, it's not big enough. I would love that, but I wish I had the room, to be honest.
but totally serious, is
Yes,
that
sometimes it is easier. Um, I'm kind of finding this is kind of like a new thing for me. Part of my agoraphobia, like, right, I go to like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen in every circumstance, right? Because I kind of like try to prepare myself for, even though it might seem insane, this might happen. And if it does, what are you going to do? Right. So, but I have figured, I've kind of like found recently that, because I had to, go through like a legal thing, and where I did it online as much as I could. And then the judge was like, you have to be here for the next meeting. Right. And I'm like, okay, but I'm scared to death. Right. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to leave my house. So how am I going to do this? And so my counselor kind of like walked me through it, and we kind of like anticipated and went through all the worst case scenarios and all this stuff that could possibly happen. And, because I prepared for it so much, it made it, when I actually had to do it, it made it 1,000 times easier. Like was able to do it. I didn't have any panic attacks. Like I was able to get through it, and it worked. So yes, sometimes if I have like a lot of preparation and I control as many aspects of it in my mind that I can, then I'm able to do things, and like I'm able to have people come over. But like if somebody would just knock on my door and not call me first, I probably would turn all the lights off and act like I wasn't home, right?
yeah.
Because I would have like no way to prepare for that. So in that aspect, yes. But
Okay.
yeah, I am able to have, and often we do have things here. My kids usually come here to me, and but you know, now
Okay.
my daughter just recently moved away, so
Are you sitting down?
I am.
Mama Juju's in the house.
What? Hey, hi, April.
Her ears must have been burning.
Oh, she must have been, yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway,
Aw.
it's nice to have you join us. We're just about ready to start winding down, but it's nice to have you here, and you'll have to watch the rerun because your name came up early on.
Right.
So this is funny. Toby says, it's okay, Beth. I thought Norma was in Georgia. Even I know that's not close.
Yeah, no, what's that?
Norma says, love you too, Biddy. I wish we lived in Georgia. Oh my
Biddy
God.
lives in Texas.
You people are funny. Oh, and yeah, Susan from I Turtly Love It is here.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, you are late, Susan, but that's okay because that's why God invented replays.
Right? Yeah.
With your dear prompt thing, are you so do you invite people to play along to do the prompts that you have selected?
Oh yes, absolutely. I have a list.
She says turtles are slow.
That's cute.
The reason I brought that up is because I'm wondering if you've taken advantage of Susan's news broadcast on Sundays where she shares prompts.
No, I haven't. I have seen it. I do watch her, and I actually around the same time I found you, because with you I found all these other people, because everybody you've done an interview with, I've gone and subscribed to their channels. So now,
good girl.
So that's like opened my world up to all these new people that I didn't know before, right?
Yeah.
And so yes, and I was like, what, this is brilliant. Somebody gives us the news about what's going on every week. Like, why didn't I know about this? And yeah, I had thought about contacting her, but I thought my channel is just so little. I don't even know. Like, I don't know. But I had thought
Well,
about it. Yeah.
I don't, Suze, I mean, I interviewed her early on, and also I can't imagine that she would discriminate against anyone because of channel size. And in
No, I don't
fact,
imagine.
getting your channel and your name out there
Yeah, that's
is,
true.
one more way of bumping up the numbers. And I don't know if the girls, Carol or Teresa, said that in the chat, but certainly what I hope is that everyone is giving this a thumbs up. And I hope that Beth, that tomorrow you can put it on your channel. And of course, there will be, those who couldn't. Teresa's saying, network, baby, network. And Joanna's saying, size doesn't matter. And Susan is saying, correct, size doesn't matter. Anyway, what I am trying to say here is that the reason that we went to having the services of these two lovely ladies as moderators is so that we could put everyone's channel info in the chat. So, and why do you think I made a note here in my blotter about all these people, and not only what their channel names are, but what their real names are? And I've been trying to embed them up here.
You're good at
So,
that.
so that I can subscribe to them, because again, that's how. Oh, and see, Karen says big channels started small, and isn't that the truth?
That is true.
And Susan says the hope is to grow everyone. So, it's certainly, and since you have some graphic design skills, just put together something for Susan, email it to her. And her deadline, I think, is Friday of each week so that she can have it ready for Sunday. Oh, Norma says her channel is very small, less than 100 members. Well, hopefully by the time today is over, that'll be 100 and a few more. So you said that you don't really have goals for your channel. Do you have any personal goals that you're aiming for? Like, let me preempt you and guess that your goal is to continue therapy, to get so that you can move more comfortably in the world, so that maybe you're available in October of 2026.
Ready?
No, totally, totally seriously, of course, that we hope that the fact that you now have this many more people rooting for you silently and publicly, that you will just let that serve as a little invisible support to you as you're working with your counselor, and hopefully, I remember after the very first time I had surgery, I think I was 30 or something, and I thought that healing is like a trajectory, and it just goes up, just like a nice thing like that, a nice incline. Well, duh, of course not. It's a plateau and a step backwards, and jerks and herky jerky kind of thing. So this isn't. I guess what I'm saying is that we just hope that the fact that you have been generous enough to tell your story to us comes back to you in some good karma, and you get a little bump in your healing process. Because I love people who laugh often and easily, and you certainly do that. So I think it's really great that through Mama Juju, you found me, you found this group, and the circle just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you grow and progress. And I don't know, it seems to me that um, there should be a way at some point, and maybe it's through Zoom rather than StreamYard. Wouldn't it be great at some point in the future if we had a Zoom meeting for all the Heart to Heart alumni?
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, that would be really fun.
Anyway, yeah, that would be great. Um,
Yeah.
oh, April is saying, Norma. Oh, she's talking to Norma. Feel free to come on, live with me any night. Oh, I think she come on live
Live.
with me. Jeez.
Aw.
Am I getting tired or what? Come live with me, Norma.
All right.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Yes. Oh, and Karen is saying that she's so proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
Aw. Oh, and Norma is saying, thanks, April, but I wouldn't know how to do that. I use my phone. So anyway, you girls will figure out the logistics out of that yourselves. I think that, yeah, we need to wind down here. Are there any last words, maybe some words of wisdom or something you wish you would have known sooner and didn't have to learn the hard way, or anything, whatever you want to conclude on is fine with me.
Oh, I want to start by thanking you because I was really shocked when I got your initial letter, your invitation, because, well, you had messaged me and said, hey, can you email me? And I was like, I felt like I was getting called into the principal's office, like I had done something wrong. And I was like, oh, what did I do? I hope I didn't do anything. And so I was shocked. And then I was honored because I was like, why does she want to talk to me? Like, but I knew I was comfortable with you. The only part I was nervous about was the face-to-face thing, which you were right, became easier over time. And thanks, Carmen, for helping me practice earlier a little bit. She helped me get the camera set up and stuff. So I just want to thank you for letting me come on and tell my story, and for, allowing me to be heard, and for caring enough to reach out to me, because it did really warm my heart majorly. And let's see, words of wisdom. What I wish I would have known. I think the biggest thing is, I really think that people who do YouTube channels should understand, and I don't think that they understand enough, is that when we watch you, like when I watch you, or I watch Biddy Penny, or I watch Norma or Carmen or anybody, I watch them because I like them as a person. And I don't really care what they're doing. They could be sorting buttons, or they could be cutting paper. I don't care what they're doing. I show up because I love them and I want to be there for them, and I enjoy their company, right? And I think enough people on YouTube don't understand that, and they think, yeah, I mean, the content is nice, and if you learn something new, great. I mean, that I'm good with that and thrilled. But that's not what it's all about, right? I think it's mostly about the community and who you are as a person. And so, and I hear a lot of people constantly like apologizing, for things. And I'm guilty of it myself, oh, I'm sorry I kept you so long, but I'm not really sorry. Like, you can change the channel, or you can fast forward me or whatever. So, if you're still here, that's your fault, So, I feel like people don't understand enough that we show up because you're like genuine and we like you as a person. And I don't really care what you do. So don't apologize for being you and being yourself. And don't worry so much about the numbers, because the numbers will come and the people will come. They'll find you. We all find each other. And it's a big world. There's still people out there that we haven't found, right?
Yeah.
So
those people with the big bucks to buy those journals.
Right. Yes. Where are they? Come find us. We need to put an ad out.
I have to read some last comments before we go. Okay, Teresa's saying thanks everyone. Beth for being so candid and Hazel for bringing us all together.
Mm.
Um, Mama Juju is saying, Beth, you are great. Love you.
Oh,
Julie, wonderful interview and so loved getting to know Beth. Thank you, Hazel. Lovely to, Denise says, lovely to meet you, Beth. Thanks for being vulnerable and real. Our favorite kind of friend. You did great
oh,
tonight.
thanks.
Carmen, you're welcome, Beth. You did great. Hugs. Sandra, it was nice to meet you, Beth. I subbed your channel and will binge some of your videos.
Oh, thanks.
Um, Joanne, so wonderful to get to know you, Beth. Denise is thanking me. Uh, okay, Teresa says, Beth, yes, me too. I'm used to having coffee with my friends.
Right?
uh, Okay, Joanne says, I agree. You have to have you have to feel a connection with that YouTuber.
Hmm.
I enjoy your company too, dear Gigi. Great interview. I can't. Toby, I can't seem to get the sorries out of my system.
She's the one. She apologizes a lot. We cannot get that out of her. We love her for who she is. So,
Well, and it's true, and it's like getting your fix of these favorite people in
hmm.
one's life. Um, Oh, Sandra, or Teresa saying, Sandra, you've caused me to add a second cup of coffee now. Um, Judy, the people with the big bucks are probably at work, LOL. We're at home living the dream, LOL.
Right? We're the smart ones.
And Denise has said she's subbing too. So, of course, that is what we
Oh,
hope, that everyone who got to know somebody new tonight, heads over to their channel and becomes a subscriber. It doesn't cost you anything, and show a little love. And it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. I've learned a lot, and I love your laugh, and I love your oh. Retro Queen Bee Art is just here as we're saying goodbye. I'm late joining in. Dang, I was busy. I say sorry at times, especially when I'm late. Oh dear. Vicky, you're going to have to watch the replay because we do have to cut out. We've been here for 2 hours, but that just tells you that it's been a good conversation.
no.
So I wish nothing but the best for you in terms of your road to, you know, recovery and more comfort in the world, and some additional success for your channel, even though that isn't what the goal is. But certainly I think from the outpouring of support and affection that we all felt tonight,
Mhm.
you've made some new friends and some new subscribers all in one.
Yes, and thank you
um,
all. Thank you all for all your support. And I really do feel it. I feel it for real. So I
yeah,
am honored,
and
and I
and I
don't take
did
it lightly.
sorry, and I didn't acknowledge the fact that you know yeah, I'm glad that I reached out to you. My goal with this whole thing was to have a mix of people, big channels, little channels. But the thing that the one criteria, the unspoken until now, the unspoken criteria that I have in my own mind is that I have to feel that I have some sort of a connection to the person. Otherwise, I don't care who they are, how big they are, how little they are. If I don't get the feeling that I want to spend an hour and a half of my life that I'll never get back, um, then, there's a good chance I'm never going to ask you to be a guest. So, it's just one of those things. I think as we get older, we feel that we need to surround ourselves by the people that lift us up, that enrich our lives, as opposed to those who make us feel bad or are a drain on us.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
am I speaking to the choir?
Mhm. Yeah, the healthier I get, the less people I have in my life. Sometimes I feel like I just recently learned how to set boundaries. So, which wasn't something I'd ever really learned in life. So, and that, requires some loss sometimes, but I get new. So,
Yeah. Um, Sandra says, wonderful visit and interview, Hazel and Beth. Enjoy all your moments, friends.
oh,
Toby is saying, it's been so heartwarming and wonderful. I love seeing your sweet face, Beth. It was an absolute delight meeting Hazel. This was superb.
oh,
And she's saying that is fair, Hazel. Makes perfect sense. Beth is easy to connect to and love. So,
oh.
and then we have an amen coming from Mama Juju. So maybe on that note, we will end this. Again, it's been a lot. It's been both heartwarming and fun to talk to you. And yeah, our paths will continue to cross, if not in the real world, then virtually.
Absolutely.
Okay, good
Thank you
night,
so much.
everyone. Thank you.
All right. Hugs, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.